Welcome, guys, to the Final Point podcast. I'm your host, Adriel, along with my co host, Josh, here, repping
What's
his
up, bro?
Boston Celtics. I'm here in Cancun right now, having a great time with my Miami Heat, watching these finals, even though it kind of hurts for me because I wish my team was here to the Mavericks. But here we are, anyways. Um,
You're living vicariously through us.
it,
Vicariously. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Vicariously. Yeah. You're
un,
you're you're living through us right now.
un, Unfortunately, I am right now.
Hmm.
As much as I don't enjoy it as much. But let's, eh, Josh, I'm gonna first point out really quick from our last episode. I'm gonna say you were pretty spot on with all your predictions from last episode. Everything you said was gonna happen happened in yesterday's game one.
Let's recap. I said that there was going to be a few blowouts in this series, and that it wasn't going to be as competitive as people were making it out to be. And I didn't know I was going to be right game one. I thought game one was going to be a little more of a chess match. I thought that, the teams were going to fill each other out. I I was not expecting what took place yesterday. That was pretty crazy.
Me watching the game when Chris Stops walked in and he had his moment, man. I could tell you right now, like during the first quarter, I was already like, all right, man, let's just end the game. Let's just end it. Because at that moment, when I saw him hitting those pull-up jumpers and those runaway dunks, and he was just taking control. And then watching what I saw a great point about this as well during an ESPN broadcast today. Jalen Brown didn't have the best moments in the game. He had powerful moments in the game. Every single attempt that Jalen Brown had from yesterday's game was like a dagger into your heart to the other team. It was every dunk, every shot, every pass. It was just so impactful. And you could just tell that Boston was playing with a whole nother energy, that the Mavericks were obviously shell shocked. They were overwhelmed. Um, we had some abysmal games from some of their star players as well. The Mavericks just looked like they didn't know what to do. They looked like they didn't
Yeah.
know how to handle the situation. And Boston completely took advantage of it wholeheartedly. They made sure that they took that game one. Um,
Yeah, they played like if they've been there before.
Yeah.
Uh, we talked about this in our last pod. We touched on it a little bit. Uh, just the evolution of Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum through the years, and we saw it last night. Um, people people can try to say that Jason Tatum had a bad game. Jason Tatum did not have a bad game, guys. He did exactly what he was supposed to do. 2 years ago, Jason Tatum would have tried to seize the moment and force shots, and it used to drive me crazy because he could be so much more, and he's discovered that, and that is the scary part of Jason Tatum's game, because he now realizes now that it's okay to pass the ball when you're getting double teamed. You don't have to jack up a bunch of threes every possession. It's okay to be a team player and to be a facilitator. And we're watching that. And Jalen Brown, the same way. Jalen Brown's impact on defense yesterday was so fun to watch because he's such a physical specimen. I mean, Jalen Brown is fucking jacked, all right? And he was just imposing his will on whoever was guarding him and whoever he was guarding. And we saw that out of Jason Tatum too. And let's not forget, Drew Holiday was fucking flying everywhere yesterday. It was
He had a
just
great game.
a masterful defensive clinic. And the main answer that I've been hearing throughout this whole finals um, Once we knew who we were going to be in the finals, the main question from all the Celtics haters has been, and rightfully so, what are the Lakers going to do with Luca and with Kyrie? And I think we answered that yesterday. I don't think, and I told you the answer is not going to be to completely shut down Luca. No, no, no. Luca, you're going to get your 30. You go score 30. Ain't nobody else scoring, dude. Luca had one assist, Adriel. One assist.
What
Luca
what
had one assist.
what I am gonna say is that it was very clear that Luka and Kyrie had an advantagement over their defenders. However, number one, Kyrie did not have a good game. Number two, Luka got his, but was not very impactful in that game one. So obviously we expect better games to come. But I would say the most overwhelming part of this game one was just the Boston shooting. And like we said in the previous podcast, how Porzingis was their X factor, and he most definitely was their X factor in this
People
game
forget
one.
how good we are, man. With
I
Porzingis,
mean,
man. It's scary,
I mean,
dude.
let's make it known. Gafford is not small. However, against Porzingis, he looks
Seven
like a
three,
six.
man.
He looks like a 6'3" guard out there
Yeah.
against Porzingis, and Porzingis knew it. Porzingis took every
People
single
forget
matchup.
why they call him the unicorn. And Porzingis' shot wasn't that good coming into the league. I don't
No,
remember it being that good in New York. I don't remember
no.
it being. I know in Dallas he was injured a lot, and that's been the talk. How he just
In
couldn't show
Dallas,
up in
I
Dallas.
think he showed out the most in his career. He
Yeah.
did,
No,
but
no, no. He showed out in Washington was where he balled out.
yeah, he did
He
ball out in
balled out
Washington
down
also.
there. He
He
was
did.
killing people.
He did. Um,
So people are surprised at just how much of a perfect piece he is with this already deadly 3-point shooting team. And what did I say yesterday in our last podcast? I said Boston plays a deadly 5 out. We're not the Wolves, man. There's no Terrence Mann or Westbrook on this team, guys. All right, everybody can shoot. Dallas has a very difficult choice to make, Adriel. They're going to have to choose whether or not they want to stop drives, clog up the paint, or let us shoot. And if you don't let us shoot, we're going to blow by you because no one can match up with Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Drew Holiday for that matter or KP. No one can match up with them man to man, so they're gonna blow by them, or just let us, or you live with the 3-point shot. And you saw yesterday what happens when you let us live with the 3-point shot. It's not gonna end well if we're shooting well, man. And not only that, we didn't even shoot that good. We can shoot better than that. We can shoot better than that.
I'm
That's the
gonna
scary
agree.
part about it.
I'm gonna agree with you because during that first quarter, Boston had like at least 7 or 8 attempts
Yeah.
where there were shots where I was like, oh, they make these shots usually. On a good
And
day,
if,
they
if we
make
make
these.
them, they're getting blown out by 40.
Exactly. And that's what I was surprised about was that they weren't getting blown out in the first quarter yet because they had so many great looks. But you know what's gonna infuriate me about talking about this game one is, and which during the watch, um, I was pretty upset watching this because I was trying to understand why Dallas had their matchups on Porzingis, and instead of bringing Porzingis on his weakness, like his lateral movement, or trying to get him to space out from underneath the paint, they were attacking Porzingis, which was the complete opposite of what I think you should do if you're playing against someone with that size and force. They kept attacking him,
But
thinking that they would score on him.
no, no, no. Do you know what they were trying to do? And that won't happen again, my friend. They were testing out his injury. They were seeing
How well he could move.
how well can you move. Let's try you out. Let's
Well, he could
let's
obviously
let's
move pretty
target you.
well.
Oh no, they found out. They found out the
They
hard way.
definitely found out.
That hamstring is feeling very good.
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
why you
pretty
saw that. I
relaxed.
think. Yeah, that's why you saw
Mhm.
that. I think that that was going to be Jason Kidd's approach. Is let's test them out.
Yeah,
Let's get him in some pick and rolls. Let's target him and see how good that hamstring is. And you saw the elite rim protection that KP offers. And might I say this too? This whole playoff run, we've heard a lot about easy path, injury riddled opponents. Boston hasn't really faced anybody. People are forgetting. They try to downplay the KP injury. You saw yesterday what KP means to us. KP is a rim protector. He is a energy shifter.
a floor spacer.
He is a game changer, and there's no answer for him. If it was just KP on this team with a bunch of role players, that's a different story. But what KP has around him is just it is the absolute most deadliest team from 3-point land. And you saw that yesterday. You cannot leave anyone open. You can't. So Dallas, I don't know how Dallas adjusts. I don't know. I was surprised at how fast we took their soul.
Funny enough, how I told you yesterday, you're gonna have to live with the Al Horford threes, and as soon as the game started with an Al Horford three, which I thought was pretty hilarious. After
Well,
like,
his first basket was a pump fake, and he took it in and dunked it because they respect the
yeah,
three.
yeah,
So
exactly,
I like the fact that Joe had Al Horford starting. I like that because it took pressure off of Porzingis, because now Porzingis just had to just go out and hoop, right? If
exactly.
he's starting,
He just
he's
has to
never
be
been in the finals
impactful.
before, right? He's never been in the finals before. He's never even played past the first round because he got injured in the first round with Miami. So he's never played in the semifinals or second round. He hasn't. This is actually a big moment for him. And Joe bringing him off the bench, I don't know who decided to do that. That was such a good strategic move because it took so much pressure off of KP. He just had to go in there and ball, as
Not only
opposed to
that,
starting. And
it it
it's
it took pressure off of the stars of Boston. Because if you kind of think about it, I mean, like you said, Jason Tatum didn't really have to go off yesterday. Jalen
mm-mm.
Brown, he had impactful shot making, but he didn't also really have to go off, even though he was probably the best player on the court yesterday. But really, who took over that game was that Porzingis first quarter and Porzingis's shot blocking and rim protection throughout the whole game
They
yesterday.
said no lobs. So the game plan, I told you yesterday, the game plan for them was probably going to be no lobs, and that's
And they only got one
exactly what you
lob.
saw. One lob, and
One
that's it.
That was it. And normally the Dallas gets done at least 3 or 4 lobs in maybe the half.
But that's why I said the Mavs, they haven't faced a defense like Boston with the personnel that they have. They haven't faced that yet. Everyone was so caught up and living in the moment. I have a bet right now, and I'm not going to blow up his spot. He probably doesn't. I'm sure he doesn't listen to this podcast, but I have a bet with with my girl's cousin, and he was so convinced when I told him that there's probably going to be a few blowouts. He almost lost his fucking mind. He said, "Are you fucking crazy? They're not gonna." I'm like, dude, you don't know basketball. It's just don't get caught up with the Luca magic and Kyrie's going off and Batman, Robin, man. Celtics are different. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Boston guy. I'm telling you, they're just different.
They're just too well
It's
too
just
well
it's
round.
the defense is they're all on the same page. I mean, they were flying around yesterday, and I'm gonna tell you why this may not go past 6 games, past 5 games. Boston took Dallas's best punch yesterday when they brought it within 8. And
Yeah.
then Joe called a timeout, and you saw something very interesting in that timeout. I don't know if you noticed, but who was doing all the talking in the timeout? The guy that has been there before. Drew fucking Holiday was leading the chat in the huddle, calming the squad down. And that's how I knew this series is over, because Drew is inserting his championship pedigree, his experience. JT and JB have already been here before. This group was so calm and collective during that run that the Mavs hit them with, and they took that shit in the chin and continued to keep their foot on their necks, and they separated again. That's how I know this is probably over. I don't
To
know what
be
else you do if you're Dallas.
to be fair though, to Dallas, PJ Washington didn't really show up. Derrick Jones Jr. didn't have a good defensive game. Also, didn't even provide anything offensively for them. And also, which is going to be which we can segue into our next point right now. Um, Kyrie was a no show almost yesterday's game. I mean, 3 of 19. He was dribbling off his foot,
This
passing
is
to
not a good.
nobody.
Yeah,
Listen,
it's not a good matchup for Kyrie. I think
even if it's not a good matchup for Kyrie, we all know Kyrie is not. He's not capable of games like this. He's usually more disciplined on the ball.
but you're missing
I
a key
don't think
factor.
I don't think this is gonna. I don't think a game like how he had in Game 1 is gonna happen again. At
You're
least.
missing a key factor. These boys know Kyrie. Kyrie used to be on that team. They practiced against Kyrie. It's not a mistake, Adriel, that he's 0-10 in Boston. That's not since he left. That's not by accident. The, I don't care what Kyrie says. I don't care which God he prays to or how much sage he lights in the beginning of the games. That crowd gets to him. It does. It does something to him. Okay.
I was also gonna
Those
say
fuck Kyrie chants hit different when it's the finals, man.
the crowd in Boston was definitely distracting to the team. They just looked overwhelmed. From the first quarter, they looked overwhelmed.
And Kyrie was trying to
Um,
downplay it in the post game. He said, "Oh, I thought they were going to be louder, dude.
of
They
course,
were
of course.
loud. They were in your head." And Kyrie, I don't think there's an adjustment for Kyrie to make. I said it in our last podcast. Drew Holiday and Derek White and Jaylen Brown to take turns on Kyrie Irving, that is going to wear down Kyrie Irving. It is, dude. We're talking about Drew fucking Holiday here. Derek White leads the league in blocks for backcourts. Jaylen Brown, who can guard any position. They haven't even put Jason Tatum on him. They switch everything. Kyrie is in a blanket right now. And unless Kyrie turns into fucking 2016 Kyrie, I don't see him being a factor in this series. And I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment and talk too soon, but what I saw yesterday was just shocking at
I
how easy they took him out the game. And what did I tell you? I said Kyrie's going to be taken out of the game. It's going to be Luka scoring 30, and that's it. And pencil in Luka for 30 every fucking game. Pencil him in. I bet Luka was going to get 8 assists yesterday. I didn't even think he was going to. Their plan was to literally take Luka off of his game and just score. No assist. When's the last time you saw a Luka 1 assist game?
Yeah, it's been especially in a playoff game.
If you
Uh,
would have put Luka under 2 assists yesterday, that was like fucking plus 1800. That doesn't happen. That's a phenomenon. And
I
Boston made it look easy yesterday.
I don't think, but I will say this: I don't think Kyrie's going to be completely taken out of the
Mhm.
series. I don't think that's going to
Probably
happen.
not. Probably not. But yesterday,
It
that was a
was a
telltale of what is coming.
I will say yesterday was definitely a rare occasion because I've never seen Kyrie have such a poor turnover slash no show type of game that he had
And Drew
yesterday.
Holiday's not going nowhere, dude.
Now what I am gonna say is, whatever Kyrie was doing within that first half of the game, that's what he needs to be doing because he was leading that bench and they were kind of neck to neck a little bit within that first half because he was passing the ball, getting the matchups that they wanted. And definitely Kyrie and Luka have the matchups. They have the matchup advantage that they can take because we all know they can get open if they need to. They can make the shots if they need or get to the rim if they need to. However, if they're not being impactful enough, they're not going to win this. They're not going to win this edge against Boston because Boston just has too many offensive weapons to throw at them at
When you
all
have seven,
times.
yeah, when you have 7-3 Porzingis roaming the perimeter, you saw that block he had on Kyrie. That I've never
Did
seen anybody block that jump shot of Kyrie, that mid range pull up. That I've never seen it. He's gotten that shit off against Gobert.
I mean
7-3 is different.
he was double teamed yesterday and still was able to get that mid range pull up.
Yeah, but that one block that KP had on him, I never seen that shot blocked
Yeah,
before.
no, yeah, of course,
He usually gets that shot off. That's
yeah,
Kyrie's shot.
that's a go to.
Will Kyrie have a Kyrie game this series? What do you think? Do you think he's gonna have a Kyrie game
I
where he
it,
scores? Kyrie game to me is 25 and up
I
with
think
some
yeah.
big fucking shots.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a given. He's gonna have at least one of those games. I would be dumbfounded to see game two and not see a better game from him offensively. I think this is so this is what I think before we get more into the Boston offense. Um Kyrie and Luca are definitely gonna have to they're gonna be better next game. I feel like Jason Kidd's gonna get them a little bit more situated. But I also think the biggest thing right now for the Mavericks is they need to get their bench set up better, more prepared against this Boston team. Because just like we saw last night, Lively was in foul trouble throughout the whole game. He couldn't keep his hands off of Porzingis, which is obviously a bad matchup. And it's also a rookie's first time in the finals, so there's that as well. Um, Not only that, we like I said, it was almost PJ Washington was already in foul trouble in the first quarter. He was almost non-existent in this game one. And like I said as well earlier in the podcast today, Derek Jones Jr. wasn't good on defense and provided almost nothing for them offensively. Um, it was so bad that they had to have Tim Hardaway Jr. play a couple minutes, and he was also nothing. So at least for the Mavericks, their bench has to be on the level that Boston is right now if they want a chance to win this series. Because if they're not, Boston's bench, just their bench alone, is going to take advantage of this Mavericks small lineup that they have going on, and they're just gonna steamroll over them if they don't do anything. But however, also that it is known during your away games, your stars should lead you to victory. And then when you're home, your bench players should lead you from there on. If Kyrie and Luca are not being impactful on the court in this game too, then we can pretty much sum up that Boston's going to take their championship this year.
Bench the Mavs bench, and you tell me if I'm missing something here. The Mavs bench consists of Lively, 2 points, Hardy, which he had a little spark off the bench. He had
I
13 points. That doesn't
this
happen too often.
I would say this whole playoffs, these whole playoffs, he's actually been very good for them
Yeah,
because in
yeah,
that last Timberwolves series, this guy was impressing the hell out of me.
yeah.
He has a
He,
first step that
he's a
is like
bucket.
almost
But do you know why he was able to get what he got yesterday? Because one thing that Boston is allergic to, and we saw it in the Pacers series, Boston doesn't like speed, quickness.
that first step,
That
man,
doesn't
is
bode well for
killer.
them. We saw Indiana kill us with the speed, and Hardy provided that for them. 13 points. Jalen Green, nothing. 3 points. Kleber, Kleber was this whole week. All I've been hearing about is how Kleber's going to be the game changer. Kleber's going to be the X factor. Played 18 points and had 2 points. Yeah, I'm sorry, he played 18 minutes and had 2 points. Guys, stop it.
Yeah,
The
he
reason
looked
why
like
he had
he looked like he had the size and some of the defense to him, but it just wasn't
the
effective against
defense, listen,
Porzingis.
yeah, it's not that looks different. That looks different against Porzingis. So I don't. So when you say bench, I don't really see this bench going off. What are they gonna do versus us? Hardy played his best game yesterday. That was his best game. 13 points is not bad. 10 minutes, 13 points in 10 minutes.
That's very effective. And
He
like
was three
I've
for
been saying,
four.
that dude is a bucket getter, man. That dude is
Yeah,
a
he's a
bucket getter.
bucket
I
getter.
like him a lot. I like him a lot. I like his game. I think they should play him more, especially in the series. Like you said, speed is that first step of his is pretty killer. And especially if he has like Derek White on him or some defender of that sort, uh, I mean, he can get past him. He could definitely get to the rim. And we've seen in that Timberwolves series that he was formidable against that team. He was getting to the line. He was actually very impactful for them. So I feel like he should play some more. Um, so let's go ahead and talk about this next segment. Before we get into the adjustments for next game, let's just talk a little bit more about this offensive avalanche. I mean, I think that it. I'm just talking bare off of eye tests from yesterday's game, but I mean, I think I could remember at least 4 times Boston went on like 23-4 runs of just straight domination across quarters, man.
Yeah,
I'm
it
talking
was.
to like I couldn't even believe that they were getting some of these shots off. It was so dominating that as a Heat fan sitting on the couch and watching this, it was giving me nightmares, man. I just I don't know how they go on some of these streaks sometimes. It's pretty
Look
crazy.
at these shooting percentages for Boston. Brown 58%. Tatum had the worst shooting percentage of the team. He was at almost 40%.
Yeah, he didn't have a great
Horford 50%. D White 45%. Drew Holiday 45%. Porzingis 60%. Hauser 75%. The, you're not beating a team when they're shooting that well. They were just
no.
on one yesterday. They were
Yeah.
on one. Will they
They
shoot
came
like
prepared.
that every game?
Probably
I
not.
don't know. I'm not gonna say probably. I'm gonna say I don't know. I don't know the answer to that because I know they can do this again. But
I think they could shoot a high 30 to a high
yeah,
like mid 40% game. I think you can get that pretty evenly every game. However, a type of game that they had last night, I don't think they could sustain it every single game. Um, but man, were they did they come prepared
I
yesterday's
mean
game?
it was spread out pretty even, man. 22 points, JB, 16 Tatum, 10 Horford, 15 D White, 12 Holiday, 20 Porzingis. It was pretty spread out across the board, man. And I think the Celtics figured something out here, dude. They really figured this out. You can't beat all of them. You can target one of us and try that, but there's too much firepower. They with the assist as a team, they had almost 20, 25 assists.
Yeah, the ball movement
Yeah, as a
was
team, the
insane
starting
yesterday.
five had 25 combined assists. That is fucking crazy. There's no one person you can target, and I don't want to hear the bullshit about Jason Tatum having bad games. He had a double double.
I listen. I'm gonna since this is the Final Point podcast and we talk about the Heat and we also talk about the Celtics here. I get all the Heat fans with the Jason Tatum narrative. I get it. I get it. Listen, there's not a bigger hater on this earth against the Boston Celtics than me. However, being completely biased and being completely neutral on this point here, whenever Jason Tatum has games like how he had last night, let's ignore the shooting, the bad shooting that he had yesterday. When this guy is sitting underneath that basket, offensive rebounds, putbacks, passing the ball, this guy is amazing for
Yeah,
this
he's
Boston Celtics build. I mean, this is all that they really need is they need
that's it.
someone who's going to be their floor general for
And I
them.
told you the Swiss Army knife. I told you Jason Tatum's impact. I said in the last podcast, his impact is not going to be. You're not going to look at the box score and say Jason Tatum had a bad game. You got to watch the game.
Correct.
Jason Tatum was snatching up rebounds. He was running the floor, playing defense. I mean, he was doing everything, and he wasn't the only one. Drew Holiday was everywhere too. D White was
Correct.
everywhere. It was just a coordinated a, a
Team
coordinated
effort.
attack on
Correct.
the Mavs yesterday. And I don't, it's only game one. I want to see how they respond. I don't, listen, I'm giving Luca respect.
So let's go ahead and then talk about the adjustments uh, for game two. Um, I'm gonna give you quickly my thoughts of what they do for game two. Number one, Mavericks bench has to show up if they want a chance, at least a chance, a scoring chance against this Boston team. Because as we just saw in game one, this is a collective team effort if you want to win. Against at least against this Boston team. This is not the Timberwolves. This is not the Clippers. This is not OKC. This is a collective, complete, all in, they buy in type of team. So you need to beat them at their own game, which is everyone on the same page as well. Now, I'm not saying PJ Washington needs to go out for 20 points or, DJJ needs to go out for another 25 or something like that. But what I am saying is that they need to actually be at the same page, play hard defense, go all out in effort, hustle, they need to go all out. And from what I watched in game one, they just looked extremely overwhelmed. So let's say the bench needs to do something in this next game. Number two, Kyrie and Luca, they need to be the best players on the court. They need to if they want to have a chance as well trying to beat this team. Um, I don't, like I said before, I don't believe Kyrie's going to have a bad game like we just saw in game one. I expect him to be better. I also expect Luca to be better because I would say he had a bad shooting game last night. Um, and honestly, that's all the Mavericks need to do because we saw them come back. They brought the game down to 8. So they definitely have the capability to go blow for blow against Boston, but they just need to show up. I think they'll be well prepared game two. And my prediction is that the Mavericks take game two and take it back to Dallas for game three.
Yeah, so um it's it's something when you're saying Kyrie has to have a big game.
Not even a big
How?
game. He not even.
No, no,
I'm
no,
not
he
even.
has to show up. He has to show up.
He has to do something. He
Right,
just has to have a better game
right,
than what we saw yesterday.
right.
Has to.
As I said earlier, Drew Holiday is not going anywhere. They're both familiar with each other. I think that Kyrie is going to be a non-factor in this series. I disagree with you that the bench is going to make a difference. I don't think they're going to make a difference in because they're just not built that way, Adriel. They're Dallas's core principles on defense are loading up on the strong side. You can't do that with Boston. They tried that. It was a massacre. You can't they don't have the personnel, and it's okay to just admit that. It's just a bad matchup. I was right
Well,
yesterday, and listen, and I don't think I'm gonna be wrong again. The only way they can win is if we have bad shooting nights. Will we have a bad shooting night? Yes, we will. I'll be shocked if we shoot that way again on Sunday. I'll be shocked. But I won't be that surprised if we don't because I
well,
know what they're capable of.
I'm gonna say I won't say it's that they don't have the personnel because we've seen their we've
But
seen
using the personnel against a different team, that doesn't count. This is a
I
different team.
It is true. It is true what you're saying. However, do
They're
they
not
have
built to
the
guard man to man. They're not
but do they have the capability of scoring? Do they have the capability of being impactful on the ball?
on
Yes, they
certain teams. Yes, not on this team.
and that's where I disagree with you. I
I
do
know, but
think
it's crazy that you're disagreeing with me, and the game wasn't even close yesterday. That's
I
just. But
I
you're not
get it.
alone. You're not alone.
No, no,
Listen,
no,
people
no.
are they're trying to give Luca props, and I don't want to disrespect Luca or Kyrie. It's tough to do that. I'm just going off of yesterday wasn't even close, and Luca gave us his best shot, 30
I,
points. That's Luca. Luca
but
didn't look any different.
correct. But I don't think we saw the best out of the Mavericks though yesterday. I don't think we did. We saw a normal version of Luca. He got his shots off. He got his mismatches. He did what he could do. However, for the rest of the team, I don't think we saw what we've been seeing. Now, was that due to the fact of the Celtics defense? 100%.
It's a different.
However,
I went down the line, man. It's a different teams, bro. There's no
I
Terrence
get
Mann
it.
or Westbrook, bro. This
I
is not
get it.
Jaden McDaniels, dude, and
And I
Gobert.
agree. I agree with you on that aspect. However, to think that they can't go toe to toe with Boston, that's where I disagree with because I do think that they
They
can at
can't.
least. I do think they can. Listen, this is how I think of it. If the Pacers can take you,
That's a different team. You
I
can't
get
say
it.
that.
Listen,
You can't
I
say
get
that,
it. I
dude.
get it. However, we can both agree that the Pacers are less of a team compared to the Mavericks. The
No,
Mav the
no, 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 no,
I
no.
would
I'm
say
not gonna
that at
say that.
least.
I'm not gonna
I
say that
will say
because
that.
no, because playoffs are all about matchups, like boxing
Correct.
fights.
I agree.
Styles makes fights.
I agree.
People are you're looking at the roster of Indiana and you're saying how could they Indiana presented a problem for us. They were fucking fast. They got up and down the court and they were fearless. They had nothing to lose. That's a different team than the Mavs. I
Okay,
think
then
that Pacers team without Halliburton presents a problem for any team in the NBA because they were pretty good. People were not giving them enough credit. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and say the Pacers sucked and if the Pacers can do it to us, anybody can. That's fucking dumb. I'm not gonna say that. And that's what you're saying. That makes no
okay,
sense to me.
I'm gonna give you from the viewpoint how I'm seeing
Okay.
this right now. So let's rewind a little bit. Let me take you back to something familiar, something that the fans would might appreciate of the show. So last year, we took a play-in Miami Heat team
Different Boston
with
team. Continue. This is a
correct different
different team,
Boston,
bro. This is a different
different.
team, man. You can't even compare that.
I'm gonna say it's a little different Boston team, but for the most
A
part, it's
little different. Drew
yeah,
Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis.
yeah. But I mean, we cooked Drew
What are
Holiday
you
the first round.
saying?
We
But you
cooked Drew
didn't
Holiday
do
the
that
first round,
with. I know, but you didn't do that on this team. That's what I'm saying. It's a
and and
different team. You
and
can't compare
also
those two teams.
and also I'm gonna let you know about something because I get it and I give the props to Porzingis. But listen, man, Porzingis ain't nothing against Bam. Bam will cook Porzingis any day, any given time. I know I'm talking from Cancun right now, but this is just the reality of it. All right, this is just the reality of it. If Bam, Bam takes that matchup any given day. Number one, but number two, how I am gonna say what my point being is
Yeah. What
that
was your point?
is that we took a team that obviously from let's just give it from the ESPN analytics, we had a 3% chance against you guys last year. I wouldn't have thought Max Strus or even Duncan Robinson can go toe to toe with any of you guys on your Boston team. However, they did the impossible and they did it in a game 7. Now, what I am trying to make a point here is that
In a
just
game 7
because
with an injured with an injured Tatum.
listen, man, we can't change
No,
we
no, no.
can't
I know,
change
I know, I know, I know.
We
But
can't
you're
change what
missing
happened.
no, no. But you're missing a fact. You're missing a key fact here. I think Boston figured out Miami, and that's why they won 3 in a row in convincing fashion. And then that seventh game, and it can go anywhere. Tatum got injured.
Uh,
I
I
know, I know, I know, I know. Listen, we're just it's revisionist history. What we're doing
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
You're
But
what you're
what I'm trying
saying.
to say is that like
Any team can do it because Miami did it.
like just no,
Right.
I'm saying with the team that Miami had,
It's
it was
different
for
personnel, different coach, different defensive
I get it.
principles. It's a
But
different situation, Adriel. You cannot
I'm
compare
talking
that.
I'm talking from just a player standpoint, one-on-one matchup right here. Because obviously the matchup last year was in your guys' hands. You guys
It's
had the matchup. You guys did. However, the opposite came true. So what I'm trying to say here is just because the matchups are bad, just because maybe the style is bad, it doesn't come to par to your team. They can still make an adjustment and pull out a win. They can still come up top. Is what I'm saying. I'm just saying there's a chance here. There is a chance. It's not all over. I don't think it's all over yet. Now, if we watch game 2 and we see the same thing what we just saw in game 1, I'm going to come on here for the next podcast. I'm going to tell you, listen, Josh, I was wrong, man. They don't have a chance, bro. It's over. We might as well give you guys the Larry O'Brien trophy and let's just sail to next season and let's call it a day. I'm in Cancun, so it doesn't even really matter what I say. But
yeah, it's
I'm
just
just saying.
I know I hear what you're saying. You're trying to say they have a puncher's chance, and they have Luca, so they do have a puncher's chance.
Not only they
But
have Luca, they have Kyrie, and they
I
do
don't
have
think I
a
know
formidable, I would say a formidable bench.
that looked good versus other teams.
No, I feel like I do feel this team can make an adjustment and come out better for next game. A lot better than what we just saw in game 1. I think they were shell shocked. I think they were overwhelmed. Now that it's out their system, I think next game we can see a better understanding of how this series is going to go. I feel like game 2 is going to be the real look at what's going to happen in this series. Now, I do agree with you though that your Celtics, man, look very scary right now. And me personally, I feel like they're going to win a championship this year, and that's coming from a
I,
Heat fan.
listen, I it's just the only thing that's gonna stop all this nonsense is gonna be if we beat them 4-1, gentlemen sweep,
Or even four
and
two
there's multiple blowout games. We already have one blowout game
in the books.
in the books. There's already one. I think there's gonna be another one. I think it's gonna be tomorrow. I think that Jason Tatum only scoring 16 points and them dominating the way they did is not a good sign
I agree
for
with
the
you.
Mavs.
I agree with you.
Because Tatum didn't even play his best game, man, and neither did Brown.
Yeah,
Brown
I
only had
agree.
22 points.
I agree.
Porzingis is just getting started, and I'm just basing it off of what I've seen out of the Mavs. The defense that I've seen out of the Mavs, I'm going to keep bringing this up. I just don't think they're built like that. They're not. We're asking them to play a different way on the fly. They're so used to playing a certain way, and it's worked for them. Now they lost each game one and then they've come back. I understand that, but those teams aren't us. They're not. And I know when you hear that, it's like, yeah, but you're in the East, it's easier. It would have been a close game yesterday. Luca would have figured it. It wouldn't have been a blowout yesterday. Luca would have figured it out. There's nothing to figure out. I don't think there's any adjustment he can do. Besides, if we can beat us. If we start missing shots, Dallas has a chance. Because now we're missing shots. We're still playing good defense, but they're making more shots than us. That's the only way. But to adjust to the point where they can beat us back-to-back games and win 4 games on us, you saw it yesterday. That's not going to happen, man. I don't see that happening. And not Luka's going to win a few championships, not this one, not against this Boston team. It's just a bad matchup for them. And yes, Yes, they can have a fucking Superman effort, and yeah, anything can happen. Of course, it's the NBA,
Of course.
but I see them winning one game. It's not gonna be game two, possibly game 3 or 4 in Dallas, which is gonna work for us because then we can win it all in Boston. But you saw yesterday, why would Boston do anything different? All they have to do, if I'm Joe, I'm telling them, do the same thing you did again. We're not changing nothing up, and we're gonna win again. PJ Washington is who he is. Derrick Jones Jr. is who he is. He showed us. I
Of
don't think they're
course.
gonna do anything different. If unless Kyrie goes off for 30 and Luka somehow figures out that pick and roll, because our only weakness, Adriel, is that pick and roll. We are weak in the pick and roll, and they didn't even exploit that too much because we were switching so good on it.
They didn't really go
I
to
was
it much.
surprised Luka didn't go more to the pick and roll.
I
But
thought we would see more attempts at the lobs. I honestly did.
I thought you were gonna see some pick and rolls with PJ Washington because he's a shooter, kind of like a
And
pick
he
and pop situation. We didn't see that.
and he kind of has some of the size advantages against his defenders as
Right.
well. So
Right. So I'm thinking maybe we're gonna see some adjustments like that where maybe J Kid tries something new. Maybe they go small and they put PJ Washington at the center and we try that out. But we saw teams or we saw players trying to go at Kristaps and he got some stops.
no, yeah, he definitely was effective in that rim protecting role that he
You
was
know,
playing
so
yesterday.
yeah, so I don't know where we go from here. You got Dallas winning game 2. I have us winning a close game tomorrow. I mean, on Sunday, I got us winning a close game. I think it's going to be closer than it was. I think Dallas is going to pull out all the stops. They're going to pull air because they know they cannot go down 2-0
Hmm. Of
going into
course,
Dallas. They
yeah,
cannot go down 2-0.
that's
I
that's
think they're going to pull up. We're going to see some shit that we haven't seen yet.
that's why I'm saying I think
But
game
I
two.
think Dallas, I think Boston's going to take that punch right in the chin.
I think
And
game
I
two is
think we're
going to
going to
be
be
our
too much
real
for them.
look. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think game two is going to be our real look at what this series is going to look like. Um, but it's not looking good
Because
for the
if
Mavericks.
if 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 Kyrie looks the same, like another 12, 13 points over.
Yeah, yeah,
It's over because that means we figured him out. I think we figured him out already. I knew this was going to happen to him. I didn't know it was going to happen game 1, but if he looks the same way, come on, bro. I mean, what do they have? Luka? Luka can go for. If Luka had 50, they still would have lost. So
potentially,
I
yeah.
mean, so what do you do? So
Um,
I'm looking for J Kid to go super creative. Like he's gonna run like the annexation of Puerto Rico or some shit like that. I don't know what he's gonna do.
this uh, before we end here, I would just like to say I wish Jimmy Butler was healthy this season. Because man, I'm not
I
gonna
do too
say
because
I'm not gonna say we would have won against you
no,
guys.
you guys would have lost in 5.
However, I think we could have made this shit real interesting against you guys. I think honestly, we as much as and I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with me on this point, but
No, you
I
got some crazy people out there.
no
There's some pretty crazy Heat fans and delusional that thought
I
that Jimmy was gonna make a difference. He wasn't gonna make a difference, man.
no I truly believe that we are the Boston Celtics' kryptonite. I don't know. It's not that we have the personnel.
Last year's team.
No.
Yeah,
I'm
last
just
year's
saying
team
no.
with
I'm
Marcus Smart injured Rob Williams. Yes,
no. I'm saying this core, this core. And let's just take
it's
out
a
Tyler
new
Hero.
core.
Let's just take out Tyler Hero for now. But I'm just talking about this Jimmy and Bam, and I'm putting Duncan Robinson in there
You can
because
put
I know
wherever you want in there.
he's your favorite. But this core that we have right here is, and I don't know if it's a mental aspect or what it is, but man, they could go toe to toe with you guys.
Not with
Now,
this team.
now,
Not with this team.
Now, I'm not saying this
If,
team that we have constructed right now, but
no. I'm talking
however,
about this Boston team with Drew Holiday giving us a whole new
we never saw
defensive.
it though. We never got to see it this season. And
We
that's what
saw it
I've
in the
been.
regular season a couple times.
No,
We did.
because we didn't, because most of the time Jimmy wasn't even playing in
No,
that.
he played one game that we beat you guys. Everybody was healthy
Yeah,
that one game.
yeah, but Tyler didn't play that one game.
Who cares?
That
Tyler played in the playoffs that we beat you guys 4-1. He was there.
but that's what I'm saying. We never got
What's
to
the
see.
difference?
That's the difference here, is that we never got to see a complete healthy Miami Heat team against a complete healthy Boston team. And if we would have gotten at least one or two games, I would have been like, all right, man, listen, we just weren't a match or whatever. But the
Yeah, I
fact,
know, man.
but I
That's a
think
shame.
I think me sitting in this cabana back here, looking at the
No, because
waves and looking at the clouds, I'm thinking, man, we never truly got to see at
no,
least
it
one
is a
good
shame. And
game.
trust me, we
One good
wanted
game.
to do that too because there's Heat fans right now that on Twitter that worship Jimmy, and it's fucking crazy to me because if you think about it, if Jimmy was that good, they wouldn't be in the play-in. They lost a lot of games with Jimmy on the court. A lot of games.
Well, listen,
Look up the
listen.
record with the Heat fully healthy. Look it up. They
I
lost
get
a
it.
lot
I
of
get
games.
it. I
He's
get it.
not that. He's not all that. But it's
It's not. I don't
crazy
even think it's.
because
I don't even think it's that. It's just really, if you really watch, because I have watched every season. I watch all Miami Heat games. I watch
Mhm.
all of them, good and bad. I watch all of them all the way to the end. Jimmy does this thing when he doesn't want to play. He will straight up be on the court, and he don't want to play, bro.
Yeah, who does that?
He and that's the thing. I don't know. And well, I do know this must be some type of way of him pacing himself to the end. However, I don't agree with this.
He paced
I,
himself so good he got injured.
and that is why I don't agree with this type of plan. Is you
Yeah,
can pace yourself all year long, but if you're going to get injured, you're going to get injured. That's just how it goes. And unfortunately, this time that he did pace himself, it backfired on him. I don't think that's going to be the case next season, however, since he's up for this contract extension.
I hope not, man. I hope
But
not.
but I will tell you is that when he is engaged and he is playing, we can stand right next to you guys at least. Maybe you
Not
guys
this
might be
team.
better. Maybe you guys might be better than us, but we're gonna be right there next to you. And I will say,
Not with this
if
team, man.
I will say, and I'm gonna make this right before we sign off tonight. I'm gonna make this point clear as of right now before the next season starts. For
I
next,
can't wait. I cannot wait.
we can go back to this point in the podcast and push it
Yeah, we're
too.
gonna go back.
But what I am gonna say is, for next season, man, if you guys want to reach the finals, you're gonna have to go through Jimmy Butler
I don't think it's. I
and
don't think it's through
friends.
Jimmy, man. Sorry, though. I don't
Jimmy
think it's through
Butler and
Jimmy, man.
friends is because listen, man, we,
It's
we
gonna be Indiana.
Terry Rozier didn't even have his revenge game against you guys this season. It's
Right,
coming.
Terry Rozier is a Boston guy, man. That's my
And
guy, dude.
But I get it, and I liked him
Scary
too when he was
Terry,
in
man.
Boston. I've always liked him. So he didn't even have his revenge game against you guys. So next season,
Next, I cannot wait, man. I all I wanted, and it wasn't for purposes of like, oh fuck, we're gonna lose. No, it was more like this team is so different. I need that same Miami team with Terry Rozier, Jimmy. I need that same team and try to run what they ran against us. It just doesn't work with Chris Tapps. It doesn't work anymore. He stands in the middle and there's no matchup for him. He shoots. So
well, Bam,
that changes the whole dynamic of it. And I
Bam,
wanted to see that. I wanted to see that.
Bam is his kryptonite, man.
Please,
I gotta
bro.
say, bro. I gotta say. And now
Hey,
Bam's shooting threes.
and
He's pretty
what
much our KP.
you better hope Bam shows up for you guys next year. It's gonna be better next year because we're gonna be the champions. So you guys are gonna be going up against the
Oh
champs
man,
next year. That's what's
I
gonna make all these matchups better.
yeah, I do agree with you. I think that is gonna make it better.
It's gonna make it better, right? Even if you guys get a win in the regular season, you can say that's gonna be your NBA Finals. You guys go, we'll beat you guys one time. It's like you guys didn't even make the playoffs. That's what we're gonna say. I'm like, you guys ain't even in the playoffs again. He goes, yeah, but we beat you guys one time. I'm like, oh god. That's what I'm going through with fucking Heat Twitter fans now. It's impossible to argue with them. It's impossible to argue with them because we lost in 7 and they were up 3. They were up 3 and we still lost in 7, and they're still in their mind. It's like, yo, but we won. We weren't supposed to win. I'm like, oh, I just wish you guys were healthy, because even beating you guys 4-1 with just missing those players, that wasn't enough. That didn't feel right.
Yeah, it didn't feel good at all.
It didn't feel like, all right, whatever, man. No, we wanted, at least Jimmy was there. At least
Yeah.
even if Terry Rozier wasn't there, at least Jimmy being there would have been okay. Well, you guys had Jimmy,
I would have been like, all right, guys, you got us. You
right?
got us.
That's what I'm saying. It would have been like, you're right. So it didn't really feel good, man. But this championship is still gonna feel good because of the fact that this is gonna be like a stepping stone, because now we're
Correct.
gonna be like a franchise. This is
Correct.
the start of a dynasty.
Correct.
And if you say Miami's in the way, listen, then you're gonna have to go through us. We don't even know what the East is gonna look like. What if Paul George is on Philly? What if Philly does some crazy ass moves next season and
It's
cooks
okay.
up some super team shit?
It's okay. Joel Embiid will probably be hurt, and Paul George will
Right.
probably have some type of knee issue. It's fine. I'm not scared of that. It's whatever. But all right, guys, this is all we have for today for the Final Points podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back for your for the game 2 analysis.
Monday night.
Yes, Monday night.
All right, bro.
So all righty, guys, thank you and have a good night. Peace.
Peace.